I love the shirt so much, it makes me feel like a bat. Hello there, my bookish friends, my bookworms, my booklings. Booklings? Is that a word? It just sounds like ducklings with books. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with booklings. Hey there, booklings. Today we're gonna be discussing The Wicked King. No, I actually don't like booklings. It sounds like earthlings. Does it make me the alien? Whatever. Booklings, bookworms. We're here to discuss The Wicked King, but before we begin, I need to warn you that this is gonna be packed with spoilers. And I mean hardcore spoilers about every single character in the book. So if you have not read The Wicked King yet, or even The Cruel Prince yet, don't watch this video until you have. Somebody in my previous video asked me about my opinions on The Cruel Prince, and I still have it with me here. And I've actually had it for a while. I have to return it to the library. I think it's been like 2 months or 3 months. I actually have no idea. I just kept renewing it until I finally requested The Wicked King. But yeah, I still have it. I'm probably gonna go tomorrow back to the library. But I wanted to put in my 2 cents about this book first before we get into The Wicked King. When I go to the library or when I go to the bookstore and I want to get some new books, I have a tiny checklist that I have in my mind. And first things first, I like to see the length of the book. Is it a shorter book? Is it a longer book? I tend to choose the longer ones. Might pack some more details. It means it's going to last me a little bit longer and I don't have to be cut off from the story sooner. The next thing I look for is whether or not the book is part of a series or it's just a standalone book. And well, you can tell The Cruel Prince is part of a series, so obviously I do like to choose series more than just standalone books. The general reason of me choosing a series is just because I don't want the story to end. I want it to continue. With the second book, the third books, you know, there's series out there that have like 8 books in it, and for me, that's just pure heaven. Last but not least on this checklist is I tend to choose books that are fantasy, YA, you know, mostly fantasy books, because we all live in this world and we do want an escape from reality, and books are the greatest thing in the world for that. But to me, when you just add a tiny sprinkle of fantasy, I feel like it just makes a world of a difference. So that brings us to The Cruel Prince, which is pretty lengthy. It's about, I think, 300 pages. It's a nice length, I would say. It's part of a series. The 3rd book is coming out soon, in about 2 months, I believe, at the end of November, aka my birthday. So it's a little birthday gift to myself. And it's a fantasy YA book. So to me, it checked off. So obviously I read it and I enjoyed it so much. Fun fact, I don't know if you can see it, it says YA, right? When I was younger and I used to go to the library or to the bookstore and I would say YA somewhere, I would always think it was just like, yeah, it's a book. And I was like, why are they always putting like, yeah, on these books, on all the books that I read? So that was genius. Well, we're not talking about The Cruel Prince here. We're talking about The Wicked King, which honestly, Holly Black, she's gonna be the death of me, I swear. This book put me on an emotional roller coaster. There were so many things that happened. I mean, the whole things with Locke, Grimson, Taryn's betrayal, so many things. I don't even know where to begin. I think I'm just gonna focus on the characters and see how the plot surrounded them, and not just the plot, but the plot twists, because this book was filled with them. I mean, I'm sitting, I'm reading, you know, I'm getting towards the end, and I'm like, okay, I'm understanding what's gonna happen, then all of a sudden, Holly Black comes in, and she's like, nope. Okay, so let's talk about Locke for a second. Locke, I actually never liked him as a character. Sure, when everybody was picking on Jude, everybody was bullying her, you know, she's a human, everybody else is cool and everything, she's not one of the cool kids. But Locke was the one who came up to her, he was being nice to her. I didn't fall for it. I mean, to me, it was more like a little pity party. I mean, the title of the book was The Cruel Prince. So Cardan was the prince, so logically you knew that something was gonna happen between Jude and Cardan, you know? So Locke to me was like that little speck of dust that was in the way of this romance. So I didn't think much about his character. And then towards the end of the book, after she became so much closer to Locke, what happens? He was actually being with her twin sister Taryn this whole entire time. And she's this sweet little thing on the side. She's just like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything, I'm just a human, I'm gonna marry you, I don't care if you're flirting with my sister, I don't have much to say. Oh, come on, Locke. I never liked him. And then we have the Wicked King, where pretty much the first half of the book is them getting ready for the wedding. Locke and Taryn are getting married, and I was just like, ugh, about it, because Jude hasn't really spoken to Taryn. And frankly, I was not looking forward to the whole wedding scene, which was eventful in its own way. Speaking of Locke being a jerk, we find out that he sent out like these assassins to kill her. I mean, come on, I want a little more revenge on her part. So in the third book, I want to see them, I'm not saying kill off Locke. I'm just saying, you know, give him some, I don't know, torture, you know, some proper revenge. I don't like him. Frankly, I don't mind seeing him locked up somewhere. Okay, let's back away from the whole Locke rant for a moment. Sorry about that. He really bothers me. But let's talk about the main character, Jude, for a moment. You know, if we compare her from Cruel Prince to the Wicked King, I feel like she has matured in a way. She's become a stronger character. I mean, she's kind of like the right-hand man to the High King. So she has a lot of responsibility on her shoulders. And I feel like, you know, she really has a brain up there. You know, she's a very smart individual. So for her, a human, to have the responsibility of ruling all of this fairy lands. I was about to say fairy world, and then I thought of Fairly Odd Parents, and it's just hilarious in my opinion. But then there's the question of, did she bite off more than she can chew? You know, again, it is a major responsibility. Nobody knows about the promise that she has to Cardan. Nobody knows what she really is doing. With everything happening with the Undersea and then her protecting Oak, you know, will she truly be able to handle this? And Cardan might just, you know, stab her in the back after the year and one day has passed, which, I mean, he did stab her in the back, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I want to fast forward just a little bit towards the end where the whole proposal scene happened. You know, Cardan is really smart. I feel that after Jude was taken away to the Undersea, she was there for over a month, right? So I feel like that he evolved as a High King. Like, he really took the title and broadcasted it to everybody, you know? So I do like that. I like that character development that we saw there, where Cardan went from that drunk, I don't care what's happening, to the role of High King. He really sat down, took the throne, and is acting the part. So when it came down to the proposal scene, you know, the whole promise was lifted in part of Jude, and it made her High Queen, right? But he sent her away. Now, I want to know what this marriage is entitled, because they are officially married. They had that promise together. And I'm questioning what this means to the whole fairy world, because we know that there's a special connection between the world, the land, and the High King. You know, they were explaining how colors are more vibrant, and just anything that the king is feeling, you know, the land kind of reciprocates. I want to see what's going to happen in the third book. I want to see if there really is going to be a connection between her, Miss High Queen, to the land of fairy. Or maybe my question is answered by the title, which is the Queen of Nothing. Alright, so let's zoom in on the relationship of Vivian and Heather, because it was very out of whack. Meaning, I really didn't like Vivian at the moment where she was with Heather and brought her to fairy, because she could have been more responsible. She could have at least told Heather a little bit about herself. I mean, she's not even human, for God's sake. This poor Heather, you know, thinks that she's with this beautiful girl. They're living together. They're in this committed relationship, and all of a sudden, hey, I have cat ears and my eyes blink weird. I really felt bad for Heather when she came in. It looked like she was having panic attacks left and right, because, you know, she's not used to any of this. Just the other day, she was living her normal life, and next thing you know, your girlfriend is some kind of fairy creature. When Jude was cast away in the end of the book, we can see that her Vivian and Oak are living at Heather's place, but Heather actually moved out. She's living with her parents. So are they gonna get back together in the third book? Are things going to be patched up? I actually think there's a possibility that she will play a role in the third book because, you know, sure, she's living with her parents, she's out of the picture, but what if somebody wants leverage on Vivian? Maddox can easily go, snatch her up, hold her hostage, and then Vivian has to cooperate. You never know, maybe that's actually gonna happen. So we're going from one sister now to the other sister, Taryn, the twin sister, who, I don't know, I was really kind of iffy about in this book. I mean, you have Jude, the strong, independent, fierce one, who wanted to make her place here by becoming a knight. So that's from The Cruel Prince. And then you have Taryn, who's like, no, we shouldn't do anything. Don't involve yourself in politics. I'm just gonna marry into a family to ensure my own protection. So with this whole marriage thing that's happening between Locke and Taryn, I understand you're doing this for protection. I understand, for your own safety. But you would actually betray your own sister? I was shocked. I mean, you have Carden, he was sick, he was recovering. So Taryn went behind Jude's back, pretended to be Jude, spoke to Carden, and what happened? Now Maddox has half of the army, and he severed his ties with the crown. So what is that gonna mean now in the third book? I just don't want my hatred for Locke to rub off on Taryn. I'm not saying she was my favorite character, but I mean, she's the sweet, innocent one, you know, who's always in the background, but hopefully it doesn't rub off. Speaking of betrayals, I was very, very sad to see the betrayal of Ghost. We heard the story of the bomb and how, you know, she possibly loves the ghost. He's saved her so many times. He's been with her for so long. They were such good friends. And then he went and betrayed Jude like that. Are we gonna earn his trust again in the third book? Or that's it, we're not gonna find him. He's run off somewhere and we don't know where he is. There was this one repeated sentence that we saw all throughout the book, and it was, somebody close to you has already betrayed you. And I'm not saying it word for word, I'm paraphrasing, and I was thinking, who would be the one to betray her? It wouldn't be somebody obvious like Taryn, even though she did betray her, but not in that sense, you know, like who would it be? And it was the ghost. I didn't see that coming, but it's disappointing, honestly. We have the ghost who disappeared, but we also have Grimson who disappeared. And for those who don't know, Grimson is this blacksmith, and he's the one who had forged the original crown for Mab. And Mab was the previous High Queen, and I think she would be like the great-grandmother of current High King Carden. Grimson's character, you know, he's a very sly guy. When I heard his name, I don't remember what his description was, but to me, like, I feel like he's like the small troll. I don't know, maybe he could be the next Prince Charming, I don't know. But he's really smart. He was exiled previously, so when he came to Carden, he asked him to lift his exile. He went up to Carden and asked for his exile to be lifted. And Carden said, sure, okay, if you pledge your allegiance to the crown. But Mr. Smart Cookie Grimson was like, yeah, okay, that's a very reasonable request. However, last time I did that, you know, it backfired on me. So I'd rather show my loyalty to you with my deeds, you know, forging new things, new swords, all these things. That should have been a big red flag about Grimson, because now he's not bound to the crown, so he can do whatever he pleases, which is what we saw. He was actually forging a new crown for Belican. He was working with the Undersea. Belican is dead, so what's gonna happen? Is he gonna continue with the crown? Is it already finished? Does it render the old crown useless? I mean, I want to see what's gonna happen. Maybe Jude can put on the crown? I don't know. I would pretty much give this book a 5 out of 5, especially since I gave Cruel Prince a 5 out of 5, and what would I give this one, a 10 out of 5? No, I would give it a 5 out of 5. I really can't say anything negative about it except for the sleepless nights I had because I wanted to finish this book and I was just on a roller coaster of emotions. The third book in this series is coming out, and I have it pre-ordered because I want to read it as soon as it comes out. And I guess I should get used to more sleepless nights because I want to finish it literally in a day. I'm just really happy I started reading this series in the last month or two because I wouldn't be able to handle the cliffhangers and waiting a year or so for the next book to come out. Not for me. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And I want to turn the mic to you guys. Do you guys prefer a series or standalone books? Would you rather finish it quicker, get the end result faster, know what happens in the end, or continue on, wait for the next book to come out, and choose series? Thanks again for joining me in my small corner of bookish paradise.